Hey again, everybody. Today we're going to talk about reciprocal trig functions. So let's get right to it. On page 1-2, we have a must do and should do section this time. And so we'll start with must. Reciprocal, remember, is really a flipped fraction, for lack of more complicated terms. You don't need to think of it in a complicated way. If you see a fraction, you flip it. That's a reciprocal. So just talking through the sample problems on this page that we're used to seeing. Number one, I have 2/3. Its reciprocal is 3/2. Number two, if I start with -7/4, its reciprocal is -4/7. Again, I'm just flipping these fractions, keeping the sign. For number three, I'm starting with -5, which could be thought of as -5/1. So when I flip it, I get -1/5. Number four, 1/6 flipped or reciprocated becomes 6/1, which is 6. Number five, 0/1 is really 0. When I flip that, I get 1/0. So the reciprocal of 0 is undefined. That's going to be a big deal as we move on through trig. And similarly, if I start with a fraction like 1/0, which is undefined, and flip it, I get 0/1 or 0. The reciprocal of undefined is 0. Next page. So like all of those numbers and every number, every trig function has reciprocals. They are: the reciprocal of the sine function is cosecant. The reciprocal of the cosine function is secant. And the reciprocal of the tangent function is cotangent. So you're going to need to study these, learn the reciprocal functions. Next page. We use abbreviations for the reciprocal functions just like we do the standard trig functions, sine, cosine, and tangent. So the abbreviation for cosecant is CSC. The abbreviation for secant is SEC. And the abbreviation for cotangent is COT. So know your reciprocal functions and their abbreviations. Page 1-6. So to find the values of reciprocal trig functions, we simply use what we already know and then flip the fraction. And truly, it's that simple once you learn your reciprocal function names. So here we go. Page 1-7. I have 5 problems for us to try. And just like with the last video, with the reference angles, I've done these on paper for you. So at this point, you'll probably want to grab a piece of paper, even if it's your cumulative notes, something on which to write these problems down and see how I work through them using what we know about the reciprocals. Okay, so here we go. Our reciprocal trig functions, again, a reminder, cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, or 1/sine. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine, and cotangent is the reciprocal of tan, which means cotangent could also be thought of as cosine over sine. A reminder, tangent we learned early on is sine over cosine. So, since tangent sine over cosine, when I flip sine over cosine, I get the reciprocal cosine over sine. All right, let's evaluate cosecant 30. Well, that's the reciprocal of the sine of 30. Well, we've figured out through all this time and practice and studying that sine of 30 is 1/2. So we need the reciprocal of 1/2, which is simply 2. So when I evaluate the cosecant of 30, I get 2, or 2/1. And that's all there is to it. That's why it's so important to know our unit circle. Secant of 135 will be the reciprocal of the cosine of 135. So again, it's all going back to our unit circle values. So we need to know the cosine of 135. Well, that's in our 45 family, so I know I have to have a √2/2 answer. 135 degrees is in quadrant 2. Cosine in quadrant 2 is negative. So I need to flip negative √2/2 and get -2/√2. clean up that fraction. The mean men in Albany say no square roots in the bottoms of our fractions. So we multiply both parts by root 2 and simplify and get negative square root of 2. There's no shortcut around that math, except eventually you'll do so much of it that you'll see the patterns and not need to do it so much. Cotan 240 is the reciprocal of the tangent of 240. Again, we need to know our unit circle. Tangent of 240. 240 is a child of 60. The tangent of 60 is the square root of 3. Now, 240 degrees is down in quadrant 3. In quadrant 3, tangent is positive slope line. So I'm looking for the reciprocal of the positive square root of 3. Well, that's 1 over the square root of 3, and again, we need to clean that up. Multiply both parts by the square root of 3, and I get root 3 over 3. Notice that the reciprocal of root 3 is root 3 over 3. You've seen those numbers before with tangent. Okay, secant 7 pi over 6. Well, that's the same as the secant of 7 times 30, or 210 degrees. Pi 6 is 30 degrees, 7 times that is 210. So we need the reciprocal of cosine 210 degrees. 210 is in the 30 family. Cosine of 30 is root 3 over 2. 210 degrees is in quadrant 3. In quadrant 3, cosine is negative. So what I need to end up doing is finding the reciprocal of negative root 3 over 2. Notice how I jotted down my quick ASTC, all students take calculus, to remember what's positive in quadrant 3. So the reciprocal of negative root 3 over 2 is negative 2 over root 3. Cleaning it up, I get negative 2 root 3 over 3. And finally, our last one, number 5, the cotangent of pi is the reciprocal of the tangent, of pi. Tangent of pi is 0. The slope of a horizontal line is 0. And we just saw that the reciprocal of 0 is undefined. So the cotangent of pi is undefined.